Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 12, Episode 3. And let me just start off by saying that Miss Dolores tried it, and she is grasping at straws for a storyline. I said, girl, since when are you some fighter?
There we go. Thank you.
And you're going to always get it again and again and again.
But let me not jump ahead. Let's just dive right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. We start this episode off with Dolores and her kids, Frank Jr. and Gabby. They're all at Dolores' gorgeous townhouse and they're having some dinner. And Dolores says that her kids are going to be staying with her until her house is finally renovated. So Gabby's airing out her grievances about how her dad has not finished renovating the home. So she's talking about the bathrooms all messed up, the faucets not working, whatever have you. And did you guys catch how Dolores' daughter kept referring to Frank as Frank and not Dad? I was like, that right there lets you know that their relationship might not be on the best terms. So now Dolores makes an announcement and she's like, by the way, your dad wants to move into the house after it's done being renovated. So both of her kids are like, wait, what? Now you already know that Gabby is not going for it. She's like, are you serious right now? Like, why? And I had the same exact reaction. I was like, why does Frank need to be in that house? They're not together anymore. If Frank supposedly has money, why can't he get a nice townhouse or condo on his own and live there? Like, if I were Dolores, I would have said absolutely not. Like, you go live on your own and be blessed. I told y'all, Dolores is a lot nicer than me because if I had been married to Frank and he was cheating and cursing me out, not spending time with the kids, being a bad father, and I got on a reality show after we were divorced and he tried to come around, when I tell you, Frank would be nowhere around these cameras. And the Jersey husbands are the only husbands who get paid for the camera time. So the fact that Frank is profiting off of his ex-wife, who he treated poorly while he was married to her, absolutely not. They would be blurring Frank's face out if it was up to me. Frank would not be making a dime off of me. I can assure you that. Like, I always get annoyed every time I see him on the screen. And I said, damn, Frank was really an awful husband because the fact that Dolores divorced him when she said Gabby was 2 and Frankie was like 1, I was like, wow. Like, those kids were babies and she was like, shout out to everybody, I have fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
But the scene ends with Gabby saying that her dad needs to have some boundaries and some ground rules and how he can't have any women coming to the house if he wants to live with them. And again, Frank Sr. needs to find his own place and live there. If we're being really honest, I think that Dolores and Frank are only doing this to be on the show. Because honestly, what storyline does Dolores have? I like Dolores, but we can all call a spade a spade. Mama has been coasting for the past 4 seasons, okay? Like, she should have been demoted to friend of the show when her good crazy pal Siggy was fired. Now we jump over to the next scene and we see Teresa and her daughters and they're having a photo shoot for Gia's sweatshirt line. Gia's song went viral, as you guys all know, and she decided to make a sweatshirt line with the lyrics on the sweatshirts. I said, hey, I mean, make that money. I know that's right. Waking up in the morning, thinking about so many things. I just wish things would get better. Miss Gia, honey, had a hit with that one.
Waking up in the morning, thinking about so many things. I just wish things would get better. I'm trying to get rid of them, but...
So while they're in the middle of their photo shoot, Teresa brings up the text that Louie sent in their group chat regarding the pizza party that he wants to throw for all of them at his house. So Teresa's youngest daughter, Adriana, is not feeling it. She's like, I don't know if I want to go, and nobody is going to force me to go. Because remember that she and the rest of her sisters feel some sort of way towards their Uncle Joe. Again, that family has so much mess. It's really a wonder that any of them talk to each other, because from the time that Joe and Melissa Gorga stepped on this show, they have been fighting until the end of time. And it's just so sad that these kids have these bad feelings toward their uncle and their aunt. So Teresa keeps begging, and she's like, look, he's the only family that I have left. He's your uncle. That's my brother. Please just come. It's going to be fun. Like, you can't hold a grudge. This is your family. So she's still reluctant, and then Gia's like, look, I have a photo shoot to tend to, so whether you want to go or not, like, that's on you, sis, but I have some sweatshirts to sell. So now we move on to another short scene with Frank, Catania, and both of the Joes. So obviously they're just busting each other's chops, and then Joe Gorga is joking around with Frank, asking if Dolores has ever seen him masturbate, and so he's laughing. Then he says that while Dolores was the perfect wife, when they were briefly married, he cheated not because of her, but because he wanted to, because men are animals. I said, Frank, what kind of excuse is that? Like, you do know that you did not have to get married to her, right? Like, you could have just stayed single. I get the impression that Frank is still a womanizer at his big age. So now Frank brings up Dolores' living situation, how she's in the townhouse while the house is being renovated, and then Joe Gorga wants to know if she and David are still together. So Frank says, honestly, I don't even know, because Dolores hasn't told me anything, and David hasn't told me anything either. And then he says, but if I had to guess, I would say probably not, because I haven't seen them together. I said, child, this man is too invested in his ex-wife's relationships. And let's cut the noise about men don't gossip, because these men on Jersey gossip, all right? Especially Joe Gorga and Frank. They are very chatty. So, of course, the conversation changes to Bill and Jen. And Margaret's husband, Joe, says, you know, I think that Bill is a great guy, but his wife does talk a bit too much. Like, she was over there calling my wife a slut for years. So you can see that he doesn't have that much sympathy about his wife outing Bill. And again, I agree. I don't think that Margaret was in the wrong to do what she did. Because Jen fights dirty too. She has said a lot of nasty things about people and their husbands. Because her calling Joe Gorga a crook wasn't very nice, and that could have lasting effects on him and his business. So, of course, since they're talking about the drama between Bill and Jen and what went down at Teresa's party, Joe Gorga brings up the drama that happened between him and his niece, Gia. So he's going on to say that he did not like how Gia was speaking to him. He was like, you don't ever talk to your uncle like that under any circumstances. And again, if you watch my last recap, then you know that I can relate to Gia, because I was a very feisty child, all right? And I was not going to have any adult talk to me poorly, especially when my parents were very sweet to me and they treated all of us like gold. I was not going to take any craziness or crap from another adult. I just wasn't. I'm not even going to lie and act like I did not have a mouth on me, because I did. Honey, I was proud of it and still proud today. And quite a few of you guys in my comments in last week's recap could relate to me. You were like, Brooke, I was the same way too. Like, I did not play that. I was always a big believer in, to get respect, you have to give respect. And just because somebody's older doesn't mean that they can talk to a child poorly. So Joe continues by saying that he really wants to resolve all his issues with his nieces because he doesn't want to be fighting with them. He wants to be a close family. And then he brings up how Louie has invited all of them to a pizza party at his house so that they can all get together and air out their issues. So now we move on to a very sad scene, I have to say, with Evan and Jackie. They're out having a date night. Their kids are away at sleepaway camp for the next 2 weeks, and they're excited to have this time to themselves. Jackie says that she wants to throw a keg party for all of the girls and their husbands. So Evan's like, cool, sounds good. And we find out that Evan and Jackie are the only ones in this friend group who are in a sorority and a fraternity. So now the conversation moves on to Jackie and her eating disorder. So now she brings up that she's still having a very troubled relationship with food, and how since last year with the rumors that were swirling around about Evan cheating really took a toll on her, and because of that, she had lost a few more pounds. So now Evan brings up how their kids have started to notice Jackie's eating habits. Jackie's really upset hearing this about their kids noticing, and she starts crying. And I really got a lump in my throat when Jackie went on to say that she's afraid of killing herself. And then when she started blaming herself, saying that you must hate having a wife who doesn't eat. And I really do love how Evan was very supportive, very loving. Like, no, babe, I'm here with you every step of the way. Like, I want you to get some help. I want you to see somebody for this. Like, I got you. And I think it'll also be great for Jackie to get some help and to see somebody, because the fact that she has a daughter, she doesn't want her daughter to develop these habits either. So again, I think it's great that Jackie does want to see someone. I think it's awesome that Evan is going to be there in support of her to make sure that she's okay. And I know that her kids want to see her healthy and doing well too and thriving. But again, prayers up to Jackie on her road to recovery, and I wish her all the best. Now it's the big pizza party at Louie's house, and everybody is over, including all of Teresa's daughters. I must say that Louie does have a nice house, so I'm going to assume that he's making some nice coin. But Teresa, please hear me clearly. Do the right thing and get a prenup, just in case. Okay? Please. But anyhow, everybody's over at Louie's house. Teresa's making the sauce. That pizza looked phenomenal. You guys already know my mouth was watering. And there is nothing like some authentic pizza.
I love it. I love it.
Like, you know that Teresa can throw down in that kitchen. She's making that tomato sauce from scratch. She's in there cooking. Child, her brother and sister-in-law and her nieces and nephews pull up. And Teresa says that she's excited because Louie is a great communicator, but she's also a bit nervous because her family is a bit on the dysfunctional side. And I said, Teresa, girl, we all remember how you guys tore that christening up in season 3, episode 1. We already know that you guys are on the dysfunctional side. You don't have to tell us that. Everybody goes outside and we see Melissa and Teresa talking. Melissa wants to know if Teresa is going to be at Jackie's keg party. So Teresa says, no, I'm going to miss it because Adriana has a dance recital in Boston, so she'll be there for a week. So now Melissa says, oh, that sucks. Like, it's going to be a good time. But I have to say, I am happy that you and Jackie are on good terms. So Teresa says, yeah, we're cool, but I just think that it's funny that you guys all had Jackie's back last year when I was spreading those rumors about Evan cheating, but y'all don't have Jen's back for what Margaret did when she pretty much did the same thing that y'all accused me of doing. So Melissa is like, girl, if you don't stop bringing up what happened last year. And for the last time, Teresa, what you did to Jackie and Evan is not the same as Margaret airing out what Bill did to Jen years ago. Margaret told the truth while you were spreading rumors behind Evan and Jackie's backs. So please stop. What you did was wrong. I need you to own up to it and just let it go. Teresa has a very hard time apologizing or owning up to when she has done something really awful. It's annoying. So Melissa is visibly aggravated at her sister-in-law yet again. And then she says that she doesn't know why Teresa has Jen's back so much, especially since Jen was talking so poorly about Joe, saying that Joe was a crook. Now the pizza's all ready. Everybody's eating. Again, that pizza looks so good. It reminded me of the pizza from Serafina. And Serafina is one of my favorite Italian restaurants, okay? Like, don't get me started. Serafina, if you're watching, holla at me in my email, okay? Because I just gave y'all some free promotion. Everybody's enjoying the pizza, and now here comes Louie trying to break the ice and try to bring this family back together. He says, I'm so glad that you guys are here to join me, and I want everybody to grab a piece of paper and pencil and write down your feelings. Child, the way everybody was looking like, absolutely not. That's not how we do things over here.
No.
So Joe Gorga says to Louie, that's a great idea, but we don't want to do any of that. Let's just talk it out. Louie says, fine, I'll go first. He starts talking about he wants to be less guarded and, more emotional and more open to communication. And everybody's looking at him like, again, really? Now it's Teresa's turn to express her feelings and admit some of her faults. Child, good luck with that, because that's not ever happening. In Teresa's mind, she never makes any mistakes. It's never her fault. She's always the victim in every single situation. And even Melissa said, good luck getting Teresa to admit anything. All Teresa says is that she just wants more loyalty, and we already know who she's referring to. She is always complaining about her brother and sister-in-law not having her back, even though she never has their back when folks come for them. With Teresa is very much she wants one-sided loyalty. Now Teresa's second oldest daughter, Milania, speaks up, and she gets what she has to say off of her chest. She addresses her uncle, and she says, look, it's just really hard for me to hear you talk about my dad and then scream at my mom. Like, I can't do that, and I feel really upset. So she continues by saying she is tired of overthinking about what is going to happen next in this family, because it seems like they go one step forward to go 5 steps backwards. And like I've said in the past 2 recaps, for some reason, Joe and Teresa just can't seem to get right. It seems like there is always an issue. Somebody's always arguing with somebody. Someone is always on the outs. Somebody's not speaking to this one. This one is holding a grudge about what happened 10 years ago. It's just always something in that family. Joe's listening to his niece, and he agrees. He says that he just wants to end all this fighting. He wants them to be a close family again, and he apologizes for talking about their dad. He continues by saying that their family has been through a lot in a few short years, and all they have is each other. Then he goes on to thank Louie for having them all together and for airing this all out and for them all being back on the same page. I said, okay, if you guys are claiming to be back on track and on one accord as a family, then I guess we'll have to go with it. Now, in my opinion, while this was a nice attempt on Louie's part to get their family back on track, I don't believe that anything really got solved. I personally feel like they all need some family counseling to really get to the root of why they have all these issues. So we move right on along to seeing all the ladies getting ready for Jackie and Evan's keg party. Miss Jen is at home and she's calling up her husband and she's telling him that she's kind of reluctant to go tonight because of everybody knowing how Bill cheated on her. So she's like, babe, you're coming with me, right? Like, I need you by my side, especially since Teresa is not going to be there. Now, again, Jen, if you're going to show up anywhere, show up with your head held high. Like, yes, that was 10 years ago, okay, and like, I will be damned to let anybody see me crying and sweating and nervous. If I am going to be in front of an enemy and other people who don't like me, I am showing up like I am the baddest bitch in the room. You got me? I'm getting real tired of Jen being all scared and talking like this, and I'm the victim, and are you coming? And babe, I'm so scared, and I don't want to see these women, and I just feel so lost. I just feel so upset. Girl, cut that out. You are on one of the hottest reality shows, making a cute coin. You already know the name of the game is to spill tea and shade each other. So again, stand up and stop all this crying and moping around. Tighten up. Then we see Tracy and Tiki Barber getting ready for the party, and I don't think that Tracy is interesting at all. She's just not giving what the girl said she was supposed to have gave. Like, if we're being very honest. And she was definitely doing the absolute most, trying to get some camera time. But anyhow, Tracy is saying how she feels so badly for Jen and how Margaret's being mean. I was like, Tracy, you just got in this group. Please shut up. And of course, Tracy has to bring up all the rumors that were spread about her and Tiki when they got together. I said, Tracy, what you won't do is try to rewrite history and play in our faces like we don't remember what happened. And then when Tracy went on to say how Tiki was depressed, and then Tiki went on to say that he really feels for Bill and Jen, I said, I'm sure you do feel for them, because you know firsthand. So now we see everybody arriving to Jackie and Evan's party. They have the bar all set up. The food looked amazing. They had sliders and lobster rolls. And you already know that, yes, once again, my mouth was watering at the sight because I love a good lobster roll, okay? So you know that Joe Gorga is super affectionate with his wife. He's always touching her, telling her how sexy she is, and I love it. Like, that's how it should be, okay? So now he like smacks her butt while she's walking over to the women. And so Margaret is making jokes about it. And then Melissa says that her husband is as good as he says he is. So now Margaret says, yeah, I know, I've heard from other people. So Melissa says, girl, what? Like, who did you hear this from? So now Margaret's like, I heard this from Dolores. So now Dolores comes over and Melissa says, Margaret just told me that you told her that you've seen my husband's penis or whatever. So now Dolores says, girl, no, like, absolutely not. Like, no, like, he's like a brother to me. Baby, Joe Gorga comes over, and so he starts joking around. And then he goes on to say that even though he's short, he's still hung like a horse. I was really screaming because Melissa was like, wait, girl, like, don't play like that. Like, who'd you hear this from? Like, don't do me. Is my man out here cheating? Like, please. She was definitely a bit nervous. And if you watch The Ultimate Girls Trip, then you know that Melissa revealed that she's very afraid of leaving Joe by himself. Like, she definitely gets worried that he's going to cheat on her. So when Margaret was joking like that, I'm sure she was like, wait, like, don't tell me that she knows something and she's about to reveal something about my man. Like, that's the last thing I need. So now all the ladies are just talking, joking around, and then Melissa wants to know if Jackie invited Jen. So Jackie says, I did invite her, but she is nervous to come because since Teresa's not here and you guys aren't speaking to her, she's kind of reluctant. So now Margaret says, look, if she's going to come to the party, she needs to come correct. Don't come in here with all that crying. Come in here with some confidence and act like you got some sense. So now Tracy interjects because she wants a moment, and she's chastising Margaret for being mean. She's like, as a mother, you need to be compassionate towards Jen. Stop being mean. Stop attacking her. So Margaret's like, really, Tracy? Like, this is BS and you know it. The way I would have walked away from Tracy, like, sis, I don't even know you. You're a friend of the show, desperate for some camera time. You were also in a crazy situation with your now husband. Please don't say anything to me about somebody that I'm having some issues with. Like, stay in your lane and keep it cute. So, speak of the devil, Jen and Bill arrive. They both look defeated. They both look nervous as hell. And I was like, again, if you guys are going to attend the party, can you look alive? Look like you want to be there. If you guys are that scared, then stay home. But I'm not letting my enemies get any satisfaction of thinking that I'm afraid of them. I would be walking in that party like, hey girl, what's up? Hey, what's going on? You know, how you doing? I'm gonna have some tequila and pineapple, please. Y'all got Casamigos? You know, I would just be so unbothered. Bill walks to the bar. He's talking to Tiki Barber. And of course, Tiki's being super messy. And he says, I heard there was some drama. And so Bill says, yeah, apparently some of my skeletons came out the closet. And Bill, you better hope that these are the only skeletons in your closet. Now we see all the women talking to Dolores. Margaret wants to know what's the deal with Dolores and her boyfriend David. Dolores finally reveals that she and David are no longer together and she broke up with him the other day. I personally feel like David was never that invested in that relationship in the first place. The fact that he never made time for her, we barely ever saw him on the show. I mean, they've been dating for a very long time, like the whole entire time that Dolores has been on the show. And we've seen him a total of like 3 or 4 times. And I just feel like he was never that invested or that into her for whatever reason. I'm glad that Dolores didn't waste any more time with David. She did the right thing by saying, I want more, I deserve more, and I'm gonna go and find more, instead of hoping for him to change. So the party's going on, everybody's having a good time, the guys are playing beer pong, and we see Dolores and Jen talking by the bar. Dolores says, I understand that what Margaret did was rough, but when she explained to me her side of things, I definitely understood where she was coming from. Jen is really upset hearing this, and of course, she has to be immature and petty and throw Jackie under the bus. So she says, well, I have to be very upfront with you. Jackie feels like you're not being a good friend to me. Jen really pissed me off in this scene because the fact that you have to involve Jackie in this, why can't you stand on your own 2 feet and just have a conversation with you and Dolores? Why do you need to include what somebody else told you? She acts like a damn baby and it's very annoying. Jen, you're either about that life where you can go toe-to-toe with people or you want to play the victim. You can't have it both ways. So now Jackie walks over to join their conversation and Dolores says, Jackie, Jen just told me what you said, that you feel like I'm not a good friend to her. Jackie says, look, I'm just looking out for Jen and I want to make sure that she's surrounded by people who care about her. So now Dolores and Jackie start getting into it. Margaret walks over and she's like, what's going on? So now Dolores fills Margaret in, and then Margaret says, well, to be honest, you're definitely closer to me than you are with Jen. So obviously Jen's upset hearing that, and then Jen says to Dolores that she wants more from Dolores. So now Dolores says, fine, Jen, if you want more support from me, I got you. So just when you think that everything is going to be resolved, Dolores refers to Jackie as this. Baby, Jackie's like, excuse me, this? Like, you're referring to me as this? Like, I'm a human being. Like, don't you ever disrespect me like this at my own party. So now Dolores is in Jackie's face and she's like, and what are you going to do about it? I said, Dolores, you know that you were dead wrong to refer to Jackie like she's an inanimate object. But baby, they are screaming in each other's faces. Dolores is in Jackie's face like this, like she's ready to fight. Everybody at the party has stopped what they're doing to focus on the two of them screaming. And the episode ends with a to be continued. Dolores getting in Jackie's face like that, like she wants to beat her down. I mean, you can look at Jackie and see that she's not anybody's fighter. So that's kind of a cheap shot in my opinion. Like, go after somebody who might actually give you a run for your money. I just feel like Dolores is grasping at straws. She wants to bring some sort of drama because Andy probably told her to step it up if she wants to see a season 13. But I wasn't too impressed by her getting in Jackie's face like that. Like, it should never be that deep where you want to fight. Especially not over that. Like, that was nothing to get so angry about. But y'all, that was my recap. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. And as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.